Professional football in America is a special game, a unique game. Played nowhere else on earth, it is a rare game. The men who play it make it so.
Hey, everyone in, let's go. Huddle up on three. 1, 2, 3, huddle up.
Y'all ain't never played football before. These guys have done.
You hear me?
They breathe just like we do.
Yes, sir.
They sweat just like we do.
Do you hear me?
They went through tour days. We went through tour days in 110-degree heat.
Yes, sir.
I want you to hit everything that moves. If the ref gets in your way, you hit him.
Okay, then, let's play.
But they're cheating us too. They're against us too. This is our team. This is us. Let's go right now. Let's get it up now. Let's go.
Back-to-back, man. You do not see this in college football.
But the Georgia Bulldogs bludgeon their way to back-to-back. Glory, glory, Georgia, as the fight song says.
For the lead. Butker up, got it. And the Kansas City Chiefs have won Super Bowl 57. And now, welcome everyone to the Huddle Up Podcast.
You are looking live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back, Huddle Up Podcast. We are live January the 16th, 2024. We're glad to be back with you for another one. And if you are not with us on the live show, make sure wherever you are listening or watching, you give us a subscribe, YouTube, all podcast platforms. If you are with us live, give us a like and a share. We would certainly appreciate that. And welcome in the crew here, the full house once again. We want to thank Mikey B for hopping on with us last week when we were a couple men down. We certainly do appreciate that. But the gang is all here. Just want to remind everyone to get our merchandise over at tpublic.com. Subscribe to us on or follow us on Huddle Up Podcast, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. We are back on Instagram at Huddle Up Podcast Inc. So you can follow us over there as well. Devin joining us. Yeah, Devin hanging out with the crew on a Tuesday. We certainly do appreciate the support as always. Make sure again, if you are watching us on our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We are up, I think, close to 75. We are getting closer to our goal. I set kind of a goal of 150 subscribers by Super Bowl Sunday, so we're on our way. We've been growing that page, so I certainly do appreciate that. Oh, Devin firing shots early. Matt, you can get him in back at Devin here in a minute, but EJ, how we doing?
Matt, you look depressed today, man. You okay?
Fine.
You need a hug?
No, I'm good.
Well,
I was expecting it. It happened.
It's
It's over. I don't have to worry.
You can
about
join me on the couch right here. Big Jim, you can join me on the couch right here.
Have like 4 more teams in the race.
That's right. Yeah. See, the way I do it, the way Jim do it. Jim, you can join me on the couch right here too, as well. And Devin, yourself, Dolphins, join me in the couch.
EJ, if I join you in that couch, a lot of weight in that van. Do you have the shocks to support that?
We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
Right.
We'll make it happen.
Hey,
Make it happen, like Iowa.
Right. Since all you guys have a seat on the couch, I'll go ahead and make the beer run. Apparently, I'm the one that's still active here. So,
wow,
Wow.
You got.
You deserve that.
Matt, how we doing this week?
Doing well. I have stress-free football the rest of the season, so looking forward to just taking in some games. I guess go Lions at this point. I don't really care.
Yeah, my Lions, they're probably at the top of my list. There's a few. Well, there's one I'm definitely not rooting for. I'll give you a hint.
Well, you got.
But
right.
But besides that, I think I'm pretty much good with everybody else.
I prefer to not see the Chiefs again since Mahomes is kind of getting on my nerves. But other than that,
I mean, yeah, I would. Chiefs would be at like the bottom of my list, but then again, well,
really,
there's a team that's not even on the list. You know that whole thing.
Well, you got.
Go Ravens.
But it's not, the Chiefs would be at the bottom of list of teams that I'm okay with. I mean, let me put it that way.
I don't think the Mahomes hate. Am I the problem here?
It's fatigue, that's all on their end. Anyway,
I think he's just. I'm a little tired of the constant asking for the flags. That's more it for me. Like I have no disrespect against him as a player. I think he's fantastic, but I think the constant every 3 plays looking at the refs, like he gets looked at when he's.
Oh, you mean like Patrick Beaver Beatty? Except he could actually run.
Unfortunately,
cool.
Yeah, unfortunately, every single star player in the history of sports does the same shit. Michael Jordan did the same damn thing. Jordan complained to refs all the time too. Trust me.
I'm not.
I mean, basketball's a little different, I would say too, because there's a lot more contact that you can ask for in those instances. And I'm not saying that Mahomes is the only one to do it. It's just more noticeable to me.
And B, I don't think Jordan did it that much. Let's be clear.
No. LeBron's worse than Jordan. We're going to put it in comparison. But,
and Brady's worse than Jordan. And Edelman's worse than Jordan. Like, if we're going to have this conversation.
I mean, people also complain about Brady doing it.
Yeah.
So I don't think the complaints about Mahomes doing it is anything wrong or different than.
I'm saying mountain versus molehill is what I'm saying.
I mean, it's he's the most prominent about it, and his team is
when your receivers can't catch, you got to beg for something, guys.
That's fair.
I mean, they could beg them to learn how to catch a football, but maybe that's
he's not. We don't see practice.
maybe that's just me. But like I said, if the Chiefs win, I'm fine with it.
I'm not upset if they win.
One certain team that doesn't win, then I'm good.
Yeah, they're just towards the bottom of the list of teams.
Yeah,
and
I would want to see
I like new teams getting some of the love as well. So, but student of the game, Kyle Nash. Now that I've hit the button 7 times, how we doing this week?
It's only been 4. And listen, I knew.
Maybe I saw into the future.
Listen, I would have had the over. But listen, I'm aware that you're dealing with your pain and you're not going to express it here on the show because nothing, I believe you said before we went on the air, nothing anyone says here tonight can hurt you worse than what happened this past weekend.
That is true.
Which is why coming to you with this news, I think, what's going on, Bern? Coming to you with this news will not have the bite that I was afraid it would, but I'm afraid I have to, as an ethically charged member of this panel, and it pains me to do this, but there is a complete and total, albeit hilarious and humorous, misappropriation of one Lucifer Morningstar. And the unfortunate truth is the person behind it is one who I hold dear without having met, but we'll meet soon. But Mrs. Big Jim let loose a Lucifer Morningstar about how she tried to tell me and I didn't listen. Mrs. Big Jim, you didn't tell me anything. You handed it to your meat shield here to tell me on the show.
She's not on the show, Kyle.
And you didn't tell me either. Matter of fact, as I had to embarrassingly inform you from the damn media room at the Kia Center, it changed, DJ. I had to inform you. I told me, but I couldn't listen during my coverage of the Magic with A7B and Sports.
Yeah, but I mean,
that is a misappropriation of the Lucifer Morningstar.
I disagree. I think we can check the tape. I think she did comment that Michigan was going to win. I think I commented or I predicted.
It was my lock of the week.
You were.
But you're
the only one that
did not Levy the Morningstar. That is not what happened.
I'm just saying.
Oh, so you lost me a meat shield. I'm still meat shielding now.
Yeah, no, both of you lost your mind.
That's so good.
Is that our next shirt? Devin wonders. It's coming. Devin wonders what bandwagon you're going to hop on next and derail EJ. I'll
go Ravens. Go Ravens.
Well, sorry, Lamar.
Yeah, well, sorry, Ravens fans.
See, you know why that's even more sadistic is now he's basically guaranteed that Lamar's going to get hurt. Thanks, EJ.
Oh yeah.
Or at the very least, just lose. Like, I mean, it's
yeah.
We know how he does. We know how he does here. But anyway, let's head over. Let's do this. Let's get this show on the road. As we do each and every week on the show, we look back at the weekend that was, and we look at the good, we look at the bad, we look at the ugly. We will start with the good. Ernest, DJ, Christian, what was good this past weekend?
My good this weekend, actually, honestly, I had a couple individual things here, but honestly, I think the good this weekend for me was for the first time in this new 17 per conference setup for Wildcard weekend. It was actually competitive. There was actually some surprises, and there were actually some,
every single game was a blowout.
No.
Except
I'm talking about surprises. I'm talking about like
what the
Texans beating the Browns. For example, Bucks beating the Eagles, which made them surprise to you, but it still wasn't upset. There were actually some upsets this weekend for once. As I said last week, my lock of the week was multiple upsets. Now, I didn't think the games that happened would be the ones that happened, but at the same time, I'm just glad we had some freshness, if you will. Texans Bucks in the second round of the playoffs. Are you kidding me? Really?
I mean, you were going to get the Browns and somebody if the Texans.
We were talking about the Browns being a Super Bowl contender a few weeks ago.
Not me.
Everybody else do.
Don't you put that on us.
We all said.
Don't you put that on us.
Ricky Bobby.
I knew Ricky Bobby. I knew it.
What are we talking about? Oh, some variety. The Buccaneers have been in the playoffs like every fucking year for the past 4 years.
I'm sure glad that new upstart team, the Green Bay fucking Packers, is in the second goddamn round.
Another one. Remember, like the last couple of years, why are we going 7 teams? These 7 teams can't beat the 2 seeds in the first round. Ooh.
No, you made
my beer, gal. Cowboys. Sorry. Spoiling that party, Jim.
So it happened once. Cowboys shit on themselves.
Already. What are you doing here?
Hey, that's a you problem, buddy.
It is a me problem, but okay, so one time, and it's a fucking blowout too. It's not like it was a good game. What was competitive about that?
Yeah, the competitive part of your comment was questionable.
That's the wrong part. That's the wrong part. I think my larger point is the freshness of it.
There's nothing fresh about it.
If you had your bingo card before the year started, Packers, Texans, who's the other team, and the Bucks in the second round of the playoffs before the year started, I would have fucking laughed you in the fucking face.
So 3 out of 14 surprises.
That's still pretty a lot. It's still a lot though for first round.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
That's not even a quarter.
Calm down, okay?
It's literally not even 25%.
You got a 7-seeder also too on top of that. Come on now.
So much wrong.
Dumb fucking Cowboys losing to the Packers and not even being close. What's wrong with
you? Your team got outscored by the Cowboys in 90-10. I don't want to hear fucking anything.
My team sucks, and I long acknowledged that fucking months ago. What are we doing here, Jim? Seriously, we doing that now?
You can't just use the term "your team" with EJ. We need a fucking clarification.
Exactly. Get the shit right, Jim.
Giants, EJ.
About time. Took you 3 fucking years to do that in the show. Your Giants.
Yeah, well, the Cowboys also clobbered your Eagles, and how many other teams are there?
Slow your ass down. I'm not an Eagles fan. Stop that.
Shut your ass.
Allegedly.
Jalen Hurts fan, though. Yeah, go ahead.
Allegedly.
So wait. So okay. Close games. There was precisely one. Upsets, and then you mentioned the Bucks. Technically not an upset. No offense, Matt.
I worded it wrong. I should have said the surprises this weekend. There were some surprises this weekend.
Okay.
Nothing went
the only real surprise was the Packers over the Cowboys.
Well,
I still think
hold on, EJ Christian. You say surprises. If it's such a surprise, then how was I able to go 5-1 this weekend, bitch? What are we doing?
You're a smart guy, buddy, bitch.
Mark it 1404. Thank you.
I was going based on Vegas. I was going based on Vegas. That's all.
Hashtag you.
Yeah, multiple upsets this weekend.
I mean, if you want to call this Super Wildcard Weekend good, that's a you problem. That's not an us problem. I mean, cool. Texans won. That was fun. Not a good game. Chiefs won. Super fresh. Also not a good game.
I guess maybe I enjoyed the Cowboys lost too much. The Eagles lost too much. Big call it good.
Yeah, you probably did.
Problem, I guess.
Yeah,
I apologize for that, guys. Again, couch sitting here if you want to. So.
Yeah, nothing. It wasn't a good wild card weekend, man.
What's a couch?
Not for you.
In terms of the games, it's as a football fan. Like, I mean, trust me, I get the joy of watching your rival team losing. I mean, it was the first smile I had on my face in 24 hours. So Like that softened the blow a little bit. But like
Sorry,
besides that, I mean, most of the games were not good, man. They weren't. As a football fan, it wasn't. The Bills Steelers, that was a fun game. That was surprising because not really surprising if you've listened to me talk about the Bills for the last couple of years.
That game was a synopsis of the entire year.
Yeah.
Dominating first half, and then all of a sudden
sitting there right after halftime, they're gonna fucking do it again, aren't they? They're gonna do it again. But
my point is, I guess I
apologize. Jason, my Rams was good as well.
I should reword it. It's the freshness, having some new teams on the block now coming here and then second half playoff. That's what I should word that way. So I apologize.
Stumble your way across the finish line.
Yes. Got to stick to the woods.
It's the finish line, the bottom of the hill, and he started.
We were going to get there eventually. We were getting there.
Here's the thing.
You're welcome. We got you there.
Thanks for the push, Kyle.
He was quarterback sneak, asshat. Listen, you did that on purpose, you son bitch, and I know.
You know me too well, buddy.
But hey, listen, it's good radio.
Fuck you, buddy.
Did I just fuck you in studio? That's awesome. No, listen. That's great.
God,
you knocked me over by timing it so well with the soundboard, Jim. This is what talent looks like, and it's about to make me cry. Now, cool. We'll just keep going.
All right, Kyle, what was your good from this past weekend?
Listen, I know despite the fact of being stymied by losing a must-win game in week 1, Josh Allen played some quality football, guys. I listen, for all the ish all of us talked, including me, who had them actually making the playoffs and winning the division at the beginning of the year, but nobody's talking about. I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen. To see Josh Allen run the football the way he did and throw the football the way that he did, and at points in the game where Diggs was missing, and yet still they did what they did. Granted, Steelers no TJ Watt. I'm not here to tell you they're a Super Bowl team, but it was a good performance by Josh Allen. And listen, all the time I've spent here in the security van toilet letting loose on Josh Allen along with you boys, I felt like I felt compelled to point out a very solid playoff performance.
Yeah, I mean the Bills almost doing the Bills thing wasn't a Josh Allen problem.
Well, can you give a little credit to Mike Tomlin and the Steelers of just being a tough ass team? Come on, man.
They are a tough ass team, and that's fine. But when you start a game like that at home, you shouldn't let any opponent back into a game like that.
I mean, I'll put it this way: your Cowboys tried to show signs of life.
Did they?
When the Packers were picking fans out of the crowd to play?
Positivity here, Jim.
There's no positivity.
Thank you, Jim. This is realistic.
There's nothing to be positive about. It's adorable that you did that. That's fine.
Just hit the Cartman button and move on. That's what you want.
That's right.
I know it.
Well, fuck you, Cat.
Matt, what was your good from the weekend?
I'm going to give it to your frisky Lions, Jim, and that fan base for the Detroit Lions that have waited a long time at home to see this, and now they're going to get another home playoff game, so that the streak will continue for that city that has needed some good things to happen in the pro football realm, I will say, since college football. They also had some recent joy, and I'm glad. Also, I'll give my good to Jim using up all of the positive vibes that he had in football on his college team and thus sucking it away from his pro team.
Marge, that's fair. Yeah. I had the Lions fans and their reactions.
Yeah.
To the I mean, I thought one of the greatest things, and first off, that game being on NBC to the point where I think he lives up near Ann Arbor, near Detroit. Mike Tirico on the call, being able to give a perspective on what that win means to Lions fans, but also giving it the chance just to breathe, like letting that moment, and then cutting to these fans who are like trying to high five, and they're not really even sure is it like a normal high five? Is it like a playoff victory high five? Is it the same? I don't know what to do.
What happens?
Like, the amazing part too about that is that not only because your Cowboys suck, they're getting 2 home games.
Oh my
now.
God!
They can do it again. They get 2 home games now as a result.
Yeah,
I already said that.
And depending what happens, they could get a third. Like let's be fair about it as well.
Kyle.
I didn't say any. I didn't. I mean, it's a fact.
I'm not mad at it. It's on the table.
It's literally a fact. I mean, I'm not sitting here calling shots or shooting things across the bow. That'll come later.
You would excuse EJ that facts are involved, so that kind of confuses him. But listen, by the way, Jim, I think it's worth noting too, going back quickly to my allegation of the misappropriation of Lucifer Morningstar. I did have hamburgers for lunch today, so I can get over it now.
Was it today or yesterday was the anniversary of the hamburger tweet?
Yesterday was the hamburger tweet. Yeah.
Well, I had it today. Sorry. I was very late.
Close enough, Kyle.
That's fine. Yeah, we'll allow it. Hey, my good. Look, can we just say first playoff game performances by multiple players? CJ Stroud looked not phased by the moment. Puka Nacua, even in a loss, had a tremendous game. I'll give credit where credit's due. Jordan Love, I wanted to check that guy's number to make sure there wasn't a 12 or a 4 underneath that top layer, man. Like it was absurd. If you want, you can hear my full thoughts on things that happened yesterday and Sunday and whatnot. On my observations this week on the Huddle Up feed, being
also the saddest Twitter feed on Twitter, Big Jim Sports.
I have to formally apologize to Jim real quick though, because I remember teasing you last week about the PTSD thing and all that. Well, it's just Jordan Love, it's not Aaron Rodgers. I apologize, brother.
I mean,
I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
I don't like doing it because of what happened, but I have to do
it.
I fucking tried to tell you, bro.
You fucking did. You know what?
The minute I saw that matchup, I'm like, I hate this.
Can you give me an Eli Christian version? Because I deserve one too. I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen. That's my bad, dude. I'm sorry.
Stroud, Nacua, Jordan Love. I'm probably missing a couple there, man. There's a lot of guys who played some great football. Jason asked in the comment here, and I'm not sure I necessarily quite understand. I mean, are you trolling?
Why do we have to do that though? Why do you have to knock someone down just to build one?
Well, let me for the podcast listeners, I'll point it out. With Jordan Love waiting, does it make Aaron Rodgers completely overrated?
No.
Like Jordan Love in 2024
ayahuasca
in January of 2024, Jordan Love doing what he did to the Dallas Cowboys in round 1 doesn't negate what Aaron Rodgers did for his career. Like it doesn't. And don't get me wrong, from the question marks of where Jordan Love was going into this season to where he's at today is a huge transformation. And the dude appears to have a great career in front of him. But like this is one season, and I'm not sitting here saying like this is a flash in the pan. He's not going to be able to do it again.
But that's on the table.
But it is absolutely on the table. But
not even this season, Jim. We're talking about before Thanksgiving,
right?
We're questioning this guy 2 months ago.
I mean, look, a up and down year for a first time starter. I think people need to like tap the brakes on like questioning the guy. You know what I mean? So like
Packers at 8 wins and was seen as an optimist, Jim.
Right? Yeah. I mean, so they got 9. They now are the first 7 seed to win. In the Super Wildcard weekend, you know, obviously they have a huge test in front of them this weekend. More on that when we pick it here in a little bit. But like, let's give Jordan Love his credit. Let's not try to, you know, I'm no Aaron Rodgers apologist. If you follow me on Twitter at Big.
Hell no.
So
don't say. Don't say.
Like I can also separate QA Ron versus Aaron Rodgers on the field. So. Like, it doesn't take away from what Rodgers has done over the course of his career. Like, let's
Jim, did you offer up Mikey Burns good? Because I think it's worth mentioning.
I must have missed it. Mike has his good, the Dan Campbell post-game speech. Jared Goff is good enough for Detroit. Yeah, absolutely, man. And I don't know if this starts the transition to the bad is like, and this isn't even necessarily mine, but like I don't necessarily understand the like Matt Stafford hatred in Detroit. Like I'm not even talking like the booing at the, like he's a rival player, their first home game in how many decades, like whatever. You boo him when he comes on the field, it is what it is. But like I've seen a lot of like Lions fans that like hate. I'm like, what is there to hate Matthew Stafford
Did
about?
I miss something that
like
he left on
dude,
bad terms?
This dude like about fucking got killed for your franchise trying to make them into something, and he got traded. Like he didn't like beg, like get me out of this hellhole of Detroit.
But if he and rightly so.
Right, it didn't end horribly. Like
I don't remember that happening at one point. That was that a bad situation. I remember to be pretty clean.
But like I think the embracing Jared Goff, because like let's be fair, like I think when you look at his time in Los Angeles, it was like they won. I feel like the attitude was like they won in spite of Jared Goff, and then he's part of that trade, and everybody's like, "What the fuck are the Lions doing?" And like, look, he's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not even Matthew Stafford. Okay, like he's not the greatest quarterback ever to put on a helmet. However, he's very efficient. Like the times at points this season and last season when the Lions weren't doing well, it's when he had one of these games where he wasn't great with the football. But the fact that this team's been as successful as it is because a lot of times he's just responsible with the ball. And like he's gonna go out there and he's not going to hurt your team. Like I'm kind of jealous, Detroit.
I mean, that's called game management, Jim.
Right. And which is not an insult, as we've talked about many times.
Thank you, sir.
Over the course of this season.
That's a good one.
So there's a great point there in the comments from Mrs. Big Jim. Stafford I guess requested a trade. But like
he did tell you, Jim. Holy crap.
But Mikey says
requested it.
Pete Shield.
I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
Mike says if you're seeing a lot of I think you're seeing a lot of hatred from a few people. A lot of fans love Stafford. Maybe we are. Maybe it's the social media vacuum. But
great point by Mikey Byrne there.
Moving on to the bad. Kyle, what was bad this past weekend?
Oh boy. Listen, and I'm going to say this. I'm not going to go full ugly here. And Matt, maybe I'm stealing from you a bit, but the fact that the illustrious career of one Jason Kelsey has to end with that bullshit is just sad. I'm not going to try to sound like one of these Philly faithful, Matt. I'm not saying Sirianni's head should be on a spike, but I'm not mad at them for exploring the prospect of looking at if they can find a better option, especially in a world where Bill Belichick and Jim Harbaugh are allegedly on the market. I'm not mad at them having the conversations internally if they are. But with all that in mind, even though EJ has decided to take himself, maybe he's chasing down a perp, we can ask him later. But, gentlemen, I come before the committee to declare another 3-name treatment. There is a brother out there who has declared the 3-name treatment and has earned it on this show. I wish to secure House Kelsey in 3-name treatment. Jason Daniel Kelsey moving forward on this podcast. Yay or nay? What say you, Big Jim?
I'm all for it, man. I love that guy.
Absolutely.
He had to take a secure. EJ had to take a secure call, I suppose.
But he's going to say yes because fuck him. All right, so be it. Jason Daniel Kelsey moving forward. Do you approve of Jason Daniel Kelsey, sir?
Absolutely, without question. Snap call. Let's go.
Moving on.
Yeah, man. That
Hall of Famer.
Hell, if you want to give Mama Kelsey the middle name treatment, I would allow that as well.
Feels intrusive somehow.
100%. Matt, what was your bad from this past weekend?
I saw Devins, which makes me chuckle since his Dolphins laid a fucking egg. So I'm going to actually give my bad to both the play calling of the Dolphins and the Eagles because there was just zero creativity on either end. Probably more so to the Dolphins because it's 27 below zero. There's heavy gusts of wind. And they're, thinking, hey, let's do these screens all evening and throw the ball in this extremely cold weather because that's going to work well. The ball feels like a rock when it hits your hands. You're catching it 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage against the defense that plays it well all night, and there was just no changing of that play calling. Same can be said for the Eagles, except the screens and the verticals was really all they had in that playbook. We called one slant that went for 52 yards, and then when I take that play out of the playbook, don't want to see that anymore. Swift has 4 carries for 22 yards. Get on the bench, man. What are you doing? So I would say both the offensive play calling for the Dolphins and the Eagles was.
But they are who we thought they were.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, if you want to throw the Cowboys play calling on both sides of the ball on there, you can do that as well, because I won't mind.
I was going to leave that for you, Jim.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
Bob.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Not great, Bob.
EJ, what was your bad from this past weekend?
Joe Flacco. Can we
he's elite.
On a Flacco now? Yeah, elite Flacco. Remember that guy?
Okay, now
I mean, straight fiction, obviously, right, Kyle?
Man, dude's 38. What are you doing?
39. Get it right, buddy.
Turn back into a pumpkin.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of saw clues even in some of these wins, though. He was, very reckless with the ball.
Browns wear orange. Why didn't he just turn back into a pumpkin? It makes sense to me.
Okay, he's 39 today.
Yeah,
Okay, happy birthday, Joe. And you got jackass EJ over here throwing you under the bus.
Hey, yo, that motherfucker's way past midnight.
Is he 39 years old, Jim?
Dong.
He's 39.
It was his birthday today.
Oh,
I'm not also the one ripping him apart on his birthday, asshole.
Birthday,
to be fair, kind of mean, but no, I mean, it was a cool story, obviously, man. But to do it on short notice, obviously. But what a
to accept it was a cool story is funny, but actually not you so much, Jim. Just the tool over here.
But the fall from grace, like in the span of like a week, just like, oh, okay, he's Joe Flacco. So just a reminder that he's Joe Flacco, not a Hall of Famer. Like, relax.
But like, okay, Mister, the Browns could have been a Super Bowl contender this year. Well, like,
okay.
So like now you're here. It is a classic fence sitting move. I do have to.
I actually will give a good to EJ for actually owning that bad take and not saying, "Well, I said they could be one." Just saying that.
That is true.
Look,
that is true.
And look, information changes. I will go according. It's not fluid.
You don't fucking reject it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Flacco does not play on the defense that gave up 45 points either. So,
and he gave 14. He gave him literally 14 of that.
That's true. That's true. The defense only gave up 31 because math. That's a good point.
Okay. My bad. Good Lord.
Listen, we went from EJ saying the Browns are going to the Super Bowl potentially to then him taking the Browns to the Super Bowl proverbially. Yes, that's a poop joke. Moving on.
Yes, we got that.
That's good.
My bad is the NFL concussion protocol. I don't know if anybody noticed Matt Stafford. I don't know what part made me feel uncomfortable more, that he did like the take my strong hand from the Scary Movie, or the fact that his eyes were more glazed over than mine on a Saturday night in college. But like, man, the fact that and besides whatever bodily injury he had on that play, is the fact that this motherfucker is staring up at the roof of Ford Field thinking he's Andre the Giant at the Superdome or Silverdome, brother, in WrestleMania 3. Like, dude, how is that guy back in the game on the next drive? What? And like, this has kind of been my thing with the concussion protocol, and I've tweeted it many a times, is like, the bigger the star, the less the NFL gives a shit about your personal safety. Yeah, I mean, thank God, I guess, that Stafford didn't take a hit like that again. But woof, man, that was brutal. That was a scary look.
Jim, I feel compelled to add at this too, like, especially with more and more of the current and recent former players that are getting podcasts and just fucking joking. Like, listen, as much as I don't appreciate Julian Edelman as a human being, I'm not saying he should be like, he's a bad person. I just find him kind of raucous and annoying, and it's a me problem. I get it. But on his podcast, he's openly joking on TikTok with Danny Amendola about beating concussion protocol. Like he's beat on his head.
Right.
Like a percussion.
Using his brain as a percussion instrument. I get where you were going with that.
Bring the full circle, baby.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely brutal. Let's see, Devin. Yeah, Devin said his bad was the Eagles. Matt already took care of that one. Mike says his bad, the media not allowing Mike Tomlin to give his flowers and having to answer questions about his contract. I'm going to throw a flag on that one, Mike, because Mike McCarthy addressed questions about his future, about his contract. Nick Sirianni addressed questions about his contract. Here's the thing, man. I understand you're frustrated. You lost. It sucks. But like, all you gotta do is like, hey, I'm upset from like, I mean, I thought Sirianni, who's a guy that I am not a big fan of, like, I thought he answered that question really, really well. He's like, look, I'm not worried about my contract right now. I'm worried about a locker room full of guys who just lost. Like, that's a much better way than just stepping off the microphone and walking out of the room.
Right.
I'm not a fan of that.
As the media member who's in post-game press conferences regularly in the room, I'm not asked about the contract guy. I'm never going to pose that question. I don't think the coach is going to give me an answer I like anyway that I can use. But the argument's going to, I already see it in the fucking comments. The argument's going to be that that's the job. And I'm not here to say that it's not. And no disrespect to Joe, I'm not saying that you're wrong to make that statement. I would contend personally in my execution of the craft that is not a post-game press conference question. That is a week of the following or the following press conference question. Now,
absolutely.
Or a breakdown day. Or a breakdown day.
Yeah, or like exit meetings.
I don't know the protocol as well as I probably should for NFL media yet. I'm not sure they get that extra day. So maybe the worry is that they won't get another chance to ask that question. So I will throw that on the table.
Right.
Got to do full disclosure here. But me personally, you won't catch me asking about the contract because nothing. Just if I had an exchange with DeMarcus Lawrence, who thought I was hinting about asking about his contract at a Pro Bowl, I was like, no, man, I said to him, and I realized I said this to him, like, kind of like just talking trash in a way that was far more severe, but he rolled with it because he was cool that I wasn't asking him. Say, no, man, I'm new at this. I'm not that damn new. I'm not trying to ask about your contract. Okay, cool. Go ahead. I'm like, I listened to the tape later. I'm like, holy shit. I probably just talked trash on Jim's favorite defender at the time.
Yeah, Joe's point too. Also, he's telling me to answer questions. It's your job. I get what you're saying there, but imagine this: you just played a hard-fought game. Season just ended, and we're literally minutes after the game, and you're asking me about my contract.
Well,
like, no one's thinking about the contract right now. Minutes after a fucking game. Sorry, that's not happening.
Fair, but again, if a media guy doesn't think he'll have another shot to pose the question, and he's getting questioned from elsewhere, he's going to have to take a shot. I don't.
Also, not to jump on, like, if you are a head coach in the league who's been in the league for as long as Tomlin has, and has been around the game as long as Tomlin has, you know that that there's a possibility that somebody's asking that question. I'm sorry, you can't say that you're completely blindsided by that question. Like, I understand emotions are up and whatnot, but I'm sorry. I called out Marshawn Lynch when he did what he did to the media and treated the media that way. I'm going to say the same thing about Mike Tomlin. Like, yeah, it is a hard spot to be in, but also those guys and those men and women who are media and they're working on their story. If they, like Kyle said, this may be their only chance in that room. And Mike, I get your point about like Sirianni and Mike McCarthy and other coaches that have addressed it. You know, that they had quarterbacks and players that were supposed to be there. You have Mike Tomlin there with Mason Rudolph. He turned the keys over to Mason Rudolph because Mason Rudolph gave him the best chance to win. Like, so, you know, maybe so, like, I'm not worried about my job right now. Let's talk about how good Mason Rudolph did to get us here. Let's talk about how tough this team battled today to, you know, when we were down 14-0 to battle back and almost get a victory in a hard environment.
That was at the end of the conference, though, right? Wasn't that like they said any more questions, and that was the last one asked?
Was it? I just
well, actually, Matt, to your point, I hope that's the case, because if somebody came out with that within the first 3 questions, that is stupid.
I think I saw in like the video of it that I heard anyone else, any other questions, and then that was asked, and he stood up and left.
Yeah, I'm, and maybe it was. I saw the shortened clip, and
right,
I maybe that guy got the play on the question that he wanted and the engagement that he wanted, because the clip's been going around. So
appropriate response.
I mean, and Joe also,
to me, it's not the appropriate response, but that's
Joe
just
also says have a canned answer, or at least say I'm not answering that at this time. At least, to just walk out, like that is a bit much. If we're gonna give Cam Newton shit about the whole post Super Bowl incident with him walking out, we got to call this out too. That's got to be fair.
EJ, do you remember the questions asked to LeBron in the famous video where he just picks up his bag and walks out of the room? Do you remember what it was?
I forgot. Shit, I laughed my ass off. Though it was something stupid too.
I at least appreciated. I got it. I at least appreciated Marshawn Lynch. I'm just here so I don't get fined. Like, it's a no answer, but at least he's saying something, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I can at least write about that. I mean, hey, listen, I'm just here so I can feed my family, bitch. What about it?
Right. Like, and as somebody writing that story, they can just be like, hey, I tried to ask him, but he didn't give me any answers. So, and then you go on to the next player and you can move on. But, let's go to the ugly. And you know what? I'm going to start with the ugly, because fucking Dallas Cowboys, man. Like an idiot. I'm not going to go long for him. You want to hear me go long for him on it? Go to the observations that I posted last night. I think it was 26 minutes. You can hear the whole eulogy of the 2023-2024 Dallas Cowboys. But holy hell. Let me just put it to you this way. This was the first time that I turned it off at when it went 20-0. Like, I'm done here. This is done. This is over. We're done here. We sucked, and game over. We move on. Like,
it's over, man.
At least
Game over, man. It's game over.
At the very least, like, they did the thing that I guess makes me feel a little bit better, because I didn't have to antagonize all day and then have my soul ripped out at the very end, because I've been in that spot too. Here, it was done. It was over quick. You ripped off the Band-Aid and I moved on with my Sunday. But holy hell, just what an absolute failure. Offensively, defensively, special teams, coaching, everything. Everything was a failure. We were told this wasn't going to happen. This wasn't going to happen. We've learned from this, and you set yourself up perfectly, and it was a complete failure. Period. End of story. EJ, you're ugly from the weekend.
So mine is the Eagles, but however, I want to take a little turn. The situation surrounding the team now moving forward. Because my first reaction is that, because all the Nick Sirianni stuff and he's on a hot seat, this kind of thing. I was like, my first reaction is like, well, that's way too soon. This guy was in the Super Bowl last year, this and that. But it's a lot of noise. A lot more noise than I thought it would be. I understand the
from who? Noise from who?
From fans. Obviously, you saw Fire Sirianni signs at the stadium today. You hear media types talk. Media types talking about it all the time. You hear media talk. It's pretty loud. I mean, I'm not saying that's gonna happen. I don't think it should happen. I'm just saying I'm a little surprised that it is as loud as it is, though.
I mean, if we know one thing about Philadelphia fans,
yes,
and not just Philly fans, but other fans,
rational.
But they are the most rational, deep thinking group of people.
If you know anything about the Philadelphia media, it's that they provide fair and accurate coverage, and
but it's national media too, though, buddy. But it's also national media too. Again, look, I'm not saying it's right. I'm surprised the volume is as loud as it is, though.
That's what I'm saying. Right, that's your problem.
No. He hasn't spoken about much about that.
Shit! You're out of your fucking gourd. He spent the past month talking shit because he talks shit on his beloved.
But he ain't probably the only one. But it's a lot more people talking about it than just him, though.
Admit the falsehood. Admit you blew it, and let's move on.
On the Nick Wright part, or just the whole thing in general?
Nick Wright.
Okay. The bottom line is, I'm just surprised the volume is as high as it is. That's all I'm saying.
Mikey B, it was snowballs at Santa, not batteries. Where's the batteries coming from now? Like, can we?
Well, I think that
we're
was
going to reference a 72-year-old story.
I think the batteries
correctly.
I think the batteries was
the batteries were JD Drew.
I also think that there was a snow game in the 90s against the Cowboys where there was AA batteries thrown.
Well, Santa Claus does not play for the Cowboys.
That is true.
Also,
although he could deliver more happiness in the later part of the season.
I've heard it argued that Wade Phillips is close. Therefore, Santa Claus was coach of
That's fair.
At one point.
So I mean, do you think he should be canned? I agree with you, man, on that one for record.
I appreciate that they are exploring.
Would I be surprised if they did? Probably not. But do I think he should? No.
Let me end this conversation right now. Eagle fan on the panel. No, not you, EJ. Shut the fuck up. Matt.
Damn.
If they let Sirianni go and brought in Jim Harbaugh, would you be mad about it?
No, I wouldn't be mad. No.
But shall we move the fuck on? That's my point.
No, I will ask a related follow-up question. Matt, do you think there should be changes at like coordinator positions?
I think that they need to pick a coordinator and have that coordinator have a defined role on offense and defense. So if the offensive coordinator is the play caller, then we know who that is. If the defensive coordinator is your defensive coordinator, then they are for the full year. We don't switch after 10 weeks. That's fair.
That is fair. I mean, yeah, EJ, you're like Devin points out, you're talking about a fan base that dumped popcorn on the head coach. Maybe they thought he was hungry, and they didn't have a Snickers to offer him when he was leaving the field. I don't know.
That's a good point.
You're not you when you're hungry. Have some popcorn.
That's a good point.
Kyle, what was your ugly?
I think it's ugly that both your Cowboys and EJ's Cowboys, Jim, as well as Matt's Eagles, are so desperate to avoid the 49ers that their choice is to just fucking eject.
What a dick.
What an asshole. What an absolute.
Why am I the asshole? You're the one that's having the Packers face.
Hey, if AJ Brown was healthy, we would have won that game. Can I use the Deebo Samuel excuse for this?
Oh, man.
That is a disgusting act.
When did that come up? Did you hear me say that?
No, I'm pointing out that was an argument made by the 49ers.
Last year, anyway.
Last year. And all off season.
You're conveniently leaving out the whole quarterback thing. That's cute. Okay.
An injured player.
Let's go to the last meetup again. Just remind me. Okay.
I mean,
I knew your boy on the offensive line was missing, who's a great talent, and I will respect him. But yeah.
Man, what an asshole. Matt, what was your ugly?
Jason Daniel Kelsey, bitch, suck it.
Matt, what was your ugly from this?
It's actually kind of already referenced by Devin in terms of the fan incident. I was going to start with the Chicago Bulls and the booing of Widow, as well as Stacy kind of bringing in Philly and New York for zero reason and saying this isn't Chicago, that's Philly or New York. Like Chicago has been a beacon of saintliness with fanhood. Ask Steve Bartman how Chicago treats people that they're angry at. But the dumping of popcorn at Sirianni is certainly not a good. I won't mention Buffalo. A snowball maybe got thrown at a Steeler. That happens in any game where there's snow.
To be fair, that could have also been. That could have also been thrown by a Steeler fan at a Buffalo player in the end.
Correct. Yes.
We didn't see the point of shot.
Also, just nature at that point. Fine.
Well, that's also random X fan, but had many.
Right.
I get it.
Yes, and there was plenty of snow just being thrown around in celebration, so I'm not as concerned with that. But as Devin pointed out, the dumping of popcorn. Whatever your feelings are about the head coach of the team, there's better ways to handle it. Boo the guy if you want to. Shout something at him if you want to. but actually like taking the time to throw an object at someone is never acceptable. But more so, it was going to be focused on the Bulls and their fans in that scenario, which was just that was ugly.
That was gross.
I got lots of opinions for that shit. I got a lot of opinions on that shit. Trust me.
like man, look, and I was talking to a buddy of mine over the weekend about it, and I'm like, look, I am not the biggest Jerry Jones guy right now. Like, what he has done to derail numerous Cowboys seasons over the past 28 years, fucking blows. He is a terrible general manager of the Dallas Cowboys at this point, because he's not a football general manager. But like, I'm not, if he's being inducted into the Cowboys Ring of Honor, the Cowboys Hall of Fame or whatever, he bought the team and brought 3 Super Bowls. Like, I'm going to have common respect, especially if it's his widow accepting a career honor for him. Like, I can dislike Jerry and how he's run the team, in the 2000s, but like, you don't do that, man.
You can stay silent if you don't agree with it.
Right.
That's a choice you can make.
Right. Like, make it literally a silent protest of the moment, as opposed to booing the man's widow. Like,
I mean, there's a lot of bad history there with Jerry Krause even before he broke up the team. So and I'm not defending it. I think what he did was cringy as fuck. I'm just saying there's a lot of history with Krause even during the 6 titles, the Bulls.
So you're saying booing the old lady is okay?
No,
that's what I heard.
No, hell no.
That's what I.
EJ.
That's the joke.
By the way, all Pat McAfee had to do to prevent Aaron Rodgers from being stupid. So you're saying he's a pedophile? See, that prevented everything. Anyway,
if literally could have just said
it was cringy as fuck. And I think watching her reaction, I feel like we're reacting based on her reaction. If she wasn't there and they just did the whole thing, Jerry Krause, but no one represents.
She's not there, and they wanted to boo him. I mean, that's a lame enough look, but I'm not gonna go like super crazy on him. But like, the fact that she's there, that is what makes it that much worse.
It's so cringy.
Makes it that much worse. Absolutely.
Gentlemen, quickly, I feel compelled to bring in a good Jim. Sorry to hijack the show.
No, absolutely.
But we've had so much NFL centrality, and so much shit happened since our last fucking show. Listen, Kalen DeBoer getting hired by Alabama falls under the good, unless you're a Washington fan.
Well, we're gonna get there in a second here, Kyle. But yeah, no, I just want to circle back here. Mike had his ugly, the Cleveland defense. We heard they were good, played them twice this year. They were good, but they sucked eggs versus Houston. Yeah, I mean,
when you're put in a bad position by your quarterback, that is not your fault.
No, but you still gave up 31 points. I mean,
I'll put it this way. I'll review the field position another point, but by the same token, this just sounds like a Bengal homer.
I mean, yeah, the Browns weren't good on Saturday. Maybe we just put it that way. Cleveland.
That's an understatement.
Cleveland was ugly on Saturday. Yeah, Devin says his ugly, and fuck you, Matt, the Miami Dolphins the whole game. So yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it's so all right. Let's move on. Of course, since the last time that we were all together, 3 major coaching changes in the football world.
Nick graphic, Jesus.
Nick Saban retiring from Alabama. Pete Carroll out as head coach in Seattle. Currently still an advisor of some kind, and Bill Belichick out completely. A mutual parting of ways in New England. Let's start with Nick Saban, since Kyle kind of started the transition here already. A 201-29 record, 6 national titles at Alabama, 292, 71-1. Career total 7 national titles on his career.
Don't forget
before we talk about the DeBoer hire. What's that?
Said, don't forget his Dolphins career.
No, okay. You're gonna be that guy. Nah,
I'm just kidding.
Kyle, relax. Don't
Kyle,
be like
calm
DJ.
down.
That's the
Calm
joke.
down.
Don't.
This is Dan Lebitard's fault. The reason why they got to 8-8, which I believe was their final record that year, was because of
6-10.
They should have been worse. They should have been worse. But no one wants to talk about that. I am definitely evoking the Marvin Lewis defense.
No, I'm with you. He didn't even want the job to begin with. Wayne Huizenga forced him to take a job. No. Huizenga told him.
Oh, the Brian Kelly defense. I didn't know I was being hired by LSU.
No, he didn't want the Dolphins job. Huizenga just put up so much fucking money, and he told him, if you want to leave, you can leave whenever you want. And of course, Lebitard played with that for a long time on the radio show here locally. So,
I mean, I have some friends, and I'm not talking about EJ, that are Dolphins fans that still hate Nick Saban to this day.
I mean, Nick Satan.
Yeah, Nick Saban. Yeah. Exactly.
He's still hated here.
I mean, I guess really the question with Nick Saban, this will be the question here, is best college coach in history?
It's not even close. Number one, the bullet.
I mean, if the tool can get it right that easily.
Yeah. I saw some people like debating it and bringing up some, don't get me wrong, some legendary coaches.
Oh, it's cute.
What were some of the other names being thrown around out of
I mean, I know Woody Hayes was thrown around. I know Paterno was thrown around. Bear Bryant was thrown around. Bowden, I think I saw some people talking about. Don't get me wrong. Look.
Paterno doesn't have the legacy for sure in terms of wins.
Yeah.
And the ugliness after the fact, but
sure. Complicated legacy at the very least.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the game in college football as a business and all of that was much simpler. In those eras, and I'm not trying to discredit what some of the great college football coaches in history have done, but 201-29 with 6 national titles, every player that he recruited at least had an opportunity to win a national title. To like now, guys that were like freshmen this year, I mean, obviously they didn't get to the national title game, and there was a couple others, but they either played in a national title game, they got into a playoff, went
to overtime with the eventual fucking national championship.
Right. Like, I mean, in what was probably, and maybe not even probably, maybe absolutely the best coaching job of his career, because this wasn't the greatest Alabama team. We had talked about throughout the course of the season some of the limitations with this team and some of the struggles this team had. And he was still,
look at his offensive coordinator,
right? He was a snap away, a bad snap away from potentially tying the Rose Bowl in overtime. And man, so yeah, absolutely the best
in a year that a lot of us consider them being a down year for them.
I mean, it kind of was. They got the biggest win when it mattered. And that is where it leaves, and it's definitely changes the college football landscape. But Kalen DeBoer from Washington. Kyle, I know you touched on it. I assume that means you love the hire.
I dig it. Listen, I don't know a person who would have been both better capable of having to deal with a legacy like that immediately. No one's going to come out the gate, but hey, listen, this Washington group comes out. They find a way. I know that the score is lopsided at the end, but after giving up 2 touchdowns, like Washington found a way to make it feel close for a short time. That's the kind of feel of a coach you need in Alabama to even try and succeed. A Nick Saban is somebody who you never feel like the game is over with, even if you break off 2 big old run touchdowns, right? Like that in a nutshell, I think, is perfect. And just for all the genius we hear about him offensively and all the stuff, whether it be Joel Klatt or any of the other guys out there, they have nothing but glowing things to say about what, and rightly so, what Caleb DeBoer does as an offensive mind. And listen, offensively is where Bama has struggled of late, and they needed to bring in an offensive guy, in my opinion.
Yeah, and somebody who doesn't shy away from what is, I mean, obviously a desirable job, but a probably less than desirable position to be in to replace the greatest ever. I mean, that is a hard task. I know I saw some writers that are like, just promote a coordinator, let him be the sacrificial lamb for 3 years, and then hire somebody who's going to take the job. But yeah, credit to DeBoer for.
Was that the flashiest hire they could have probably made, like realistically?
I mean, maybe Urban Meyer, but that's about it.
I wasn't prepared to rule Harbaugh out necessarily, but I don't think that would have gone that way either. I agree with you,
Right.
EJ. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I'd say flashiest. I think like a Harbaugh leaving Michigan for Alabama would have probably been among the most shocking.
I mean, personally, I was hoping for Dabo to get the job so to see Jim lose his shit. But
oh no, if Dabo wants to take that and derail the Alabama program, I would have been more than happy.
But also, as much as we've talked about Dabo refusing to evolve with the times, that cost him this job. I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
I'll tell you what, it's not going to hit me, but him being gone until next year. Like, I know he's gone and I have a new coach and it's a good hire, but it's not going to really hit me that he's gone until like September next year. I'm like 2 games in, like, oh shit, he's not there anymore.
Oh
yeah, and Mike brings up a great point too. I know, like he cares a lot about former players, and I even know there was one of the playoff games that they had lost, and you know, I think it was quarterback, running back. I don't remember which ones.
And somebody.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track of which Alabama players were in playoff post game press conferences because there was fucking all of them.
Right.
But you know, they were going to leave, and he stopped them from leaving and was like, "Look, man, like these guys."
Bryce Young's one of those. I know Bryce.
Yeah, like you know, these guys did their best, and you know, and like you know, I could get frustrated with Alabama always being there in the discussion, but like I think it shows, and when you really look at what he and his wife have done for Tuscaloosa and for that community, it shows the person behind the coach, and that's probably just as, if not more important than the coach.
Correct.
As somebody who's been lucky enough, I'm not even going to say fortunate, just straight up fucking lucky enough on the 1 year that Bama didn't make it to the goddamn top 4, to have been in a press conference with him and Jim Harbaugh when they did the Citrus Bowl here. The guy in the room that felt more feeling in the moment, no disrespect to Jim Harbaugh because he was great too, but Nick Saban actually went over some of the history with the Citrus Bowl. He even played in the damn thing. I didn't know that. He talked about it, though, there at that presser. The only dude who he dressed down was somebody who actually didn't belong there and tried to ask him a question about a scout and their ranking in the draft. Well, you know, I have a whole entire staff and I talk with NFL scouts, so I'm not sure about that opinion, and I'm sure your site is reputable and all of that, but I go to my own NFL scouts and I feel this way about that player. It was fucking beautiful. Okay. But that all being said, I wasn't in the scenario where he could stop players from leaving to give them props like he did, like the incident that EJ is talking about with Bryce Young. Mm-hmm. But I can tell you post-game to that Citrus Bowl, where he had to have been frustrated at halftime because Michigan was winning at the half somehow, despite inferior-sized personnel up front. That changed later for this year, by the way. We talked about that already, Jim. I tried to tell me, but I wouldn't listen. But see what I did there. But he still took the time to show the appreciation to the players and actually made a joke about the program, saying we're having a down year. The one time we're not in a playoff, when we've been in it at the time, I think it was either 4 or 5 out of the 6 times at that point. Yeah. You know, like, what are we doing here, guys? We'll be fine. It's okay. Sure enough, he would prove that all to be true.
All right. Next, Bill Belichick out in New England, a mutually agreeing to part ways, which is kind of the thing. I know people like back, I think it was after the London game, were like, he's going to get fired. I'm like, not a fucking chance. They are not going to fire this man. He is going to get a chance to, you know, leave with his head up high, you know, and I'll hit
and rightly so.
I'll hit the clat for everything he did in his time there. 266 and 121, including 30-12 in the postseason. Of course, 6 Super Bowl titles there in New England. Obviously, the last couple years, a bit of a struggle. at times. But he leaves there. I know he has already interviewed with the Falcons, which feels very weird, but okay. Do what you got to do, my guy. Matt, start with you. Belichick's legacy, specifically in New England.
I mean, it's unquestioned the turnaround he did in that franchise, and I know a lot of people try to tie Tom to him. I think that they go hand in hand with that. I think that he got the most out of Tom, and they grew together. He built that team around what Tom could do, his skill set. He kind of was able to formulate an offensive plan that was going to best suit someone who's going to be a pocket passer, and I think that he had the right people in place in terms of coordinators throughout his career to get the most out of both sides of the ball. So I don't think that you can say it was one more than the other. I think that a lot of it is just kind of the way both of them were able to elevate each other. But I mean, I know that there are people poking fun at New England fans and talking about how rough they've had it these past 3 years, but that man really did kind of come in and take that franchise and make it the evil empire that it was for so long.
Yeah, for sure. Kyle, same thing to you.
I find it interesting that Matt references evil empire, because who's the most popular fucking character in Star Wars? It's Darth Vader. Okay. There's the reason why this guy, notorious as he is, still very popular, and it's because he did what he did. I mean, sure, he'll be marred by having some scandal involved with both Spygate and Deflategate. How you feel about either is a separate podcast. We could spend 3 hours on that shit all by
easily.
But I have to say, for now, until he gets passed, and will probably be passed sooner than later, the earliest candidate probably being Andy Reid, you got to crown him for the moment at the very least. Is it shrouded in mystery and scandal? Perhaps. But listen, it's not they call it the dark side for a reason. Shit. Okay? And by the way, don't take my word. You can make it all about Brady if you want. You can be an idiot. Even Hall of Famer Richard Seymour reminds us all, when I spoke to him about it in my time talking to him with the 3-point conversion, bing, that was a defense-first team when Brady won his Super Bowls, and they got to the point where under his tutelage, Brady evolved to be the game manager that he became. The proof that game manager isn't a slur happened on Bill Belichick's watch with Thomas Edward Patrick Beaver Brady. Perhaps the two together won 6 Super Bowls. Apart, they each get 2 or 3 tops.
All right. EJ, same thing to you.
Obviously, a slightly complicated legacy, though, but at the end of the day, he led the greatest dynasty we've ever seen in NFL history. 20 years of winning, not just the 6 Super Bowls, but also the AFC Championship. Making the Super Bowl 9 times? Yeah, 9 times. Made it 9 times.
Take your tool time. Find out.
2 losses by the Giants, of course. Yes, but complicated.
By the Eagles.
That's right. That's true. Yeah, you had 2 cracks. You lost 1. We got 2 cracks. We won both. Relax. No, but seriously though, and again, I'm making it a competition. I don't know. I don't care. No, but
oh my God, who the hell cares?
I'm sorry, 29 years, buddy. I apologize.
By the way, how many times did the Chiefs beat Belichick? You're a Chiefs fan too. Well, you're a Pats fan too. How many times did the Chiefs beat you? I'm confused now.
You're gonna don't make him do math.
You're gonna break him.
Don't do math.
I feel like as time goes away, though, Belichick might become even a little more underrated. I feel. Given where we're at now with him, everybody's all about Tom Brady and Brady's and that. Right. Do you remember the first fucking 5 years of Brady's career? In those 3 titles in 4 years?
If it's not for Brady, if it's not for Belichick, Brady's career,
exactly,
other coaches would have sat his pretty ass.
And I say that not knocking Brady, because I still think Brady's the GOAT, unlike Kyle thinks.
You're
wrong, but go ahead. But at the same time, Brady does not have sustained success without Belichick. Right. Bottom line. It goes hand in hand. That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, obviously, greatest of all time, possibly, I would say. Obviously, it's a fluid situation. I think guys like Andy Reid can change the conversation with another title or 2.
I mean, he's firmly in the Mount Rushmore.
Absolutely, without question. Yeah, yes.
And I think to your point about like guys being whether it's underrated or kind of their legacy is kind of forgotten about a bit. I think that just happens over generations. Like, you know, when you're talking about like the greatest coaches, like now you hear people talking about, you know, Belichick and Andy Reid. Like rarely do you hear like Bill Walsh's name brought up on like a sports talk show or a football show. And Bill Walsh was a tremendous coach, you know, like, so I think that happens generationally. It'll be very interesting as you know, people who watched this whole Belichick Patriots dynasty from beginning to end, you know, how it will be remembered in 5 to 10 years.
You know, it was Bill Walsh though. It's 35 years ago. He left the Niners, and he left almost as quick as he came. He coached there what, like 8-9 years. He was done by 89. I mean, I know for record, I agree with you. I'm with you. All the time.
That was just the first example that that came into my mind. Like, people don't say Lombardi, people don't say Landry, people don't say Walsh. People don't, like, there's so many great coaches that don't get brought up in these conversations because of, like, as sad as it is, a lot of the people that we hear talking about them either were too young to remember them, weren't alive when they were coaching, or, you know, in a lot of these cases, they didn't play for them.
But only thing with these guys now, to Andy Reid and Belichick, also across the generations, these guys have been coaching, I've been part of our lives now for over 30 years now.
I think there's two, and first of all, longevity is a factor, EJ. I don't want to take from that, but I think the other piece is too, when you say whoever the best coach for the NFL currently is, you're also enveloping. Like when you say Belichick or Reid, you're enveloping Walsh, Lombardi, all these guys, because the NFL in its form is the younger among the sports, right? I mean, baseball's been going on for much longer. The NFL is still in its comparable youth, right? And it's a situation where the reason why you feel it's like you're hearing the word redefined or innovation or generational isn't just because media types are overusing the shit. It's actually happening more because
they are also overusing that shit.
They are. I acknowledge, Jim. That's the point. Yeah. But listen, you find me an article where I use that word.
Joke.
Exactly. This guy gets it.
This guy gets it.
But I think it's more about when you say that you're also understanding the lessons learned from the previous generation of football.
Sure. Lastly, Pete Carroll out in Seattle. There's appears to be some form of drama or confusion about whose decision this was. I saw a report over the weekend that it sounds like Pete Carroll didn't want to not be the head coach anymore, and that the decision was made by people who aren't in the locker room, or I forget exactly how it was worded. Not football people, or people that don't understand football, or something like that.
Yes, you say that.
But now currently again is a in some form of advisory role with the Seattle Seahawks. But 137-89-1 with Seattle, 10-9 in the postseason for the Seahawks. Of course, the one Super Bowl title.
Should have been 2.
Should have been 2.
Yep,
dumbass.
Yeah, that it should have been,
and I blame you.
It should have been,
you dumbass.
There's the opening scene, I think the second to last season of the league, parodies that one very well with Marshawn Lynch on the beach, and Taco needs a beer, or Kevin needs a beer, and he's like, "Oh, here, I'll throw it to him." Marshawn Lynch's like, "No, I'll just run it over. I'll just throw it to him. What's the worst that can happen?" And literally, like, Kevin fumbles it, and like there's an explosion. So it was it's a good one if you've never watched that show. But maybe this is a more complicated question, is a Bill Belichick's legacy, because we know what his is. But if Pete Carroll never coaches again, like what is his legacy, and where does he rank generationally all time to you? EJ, I'll start with you.
I mean, he's a guy that won on both levels, which is rare to do, as is. One
That's true.
One USC, one in Seattle, and Seattle was relevant for a long time. We were at one point looking at Seattle as the next New England-ish type team.
No,
no, we weren't.
There were people talking about that. Yes, they were.
Okay.
Well, then the second Super Bowl happened, and
They were
lost. Yeah. Anyway.
There's idiots everywhere, EJ.
Of course there are. Yes, I'm just saying. People that was a conversation back in 2014. That
there are people that
is
have
this the next
rankings than you.
Is this the next dynasty?
It's everywhere. We get it.
Right, but like I said, I think we look at generationally. He's definitely probably in the top 5. I mean, right? I mean,
of his generation.
But wait, of the last 20 years, Jamal. Which one? We talking like what time frame looking at here? Because
let's say
why don't you clarify there, since you made the generational comment?
Let's say 20 years. Let's say 20 years, because I mean he was 10-9, so he's been around 20.
As a coach in general or NFL only, because that's a conversation. You're talking about both. If you're playing college, you're not play a part.
Since he was let go his position in Seattle changes, let's go as the Seahawks as an NFL coach.
Okay, well, I mean, top 10. I mean, you go Belichick, you go
top 10
Coughlin,
of the last 20 years.
Coughlin.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
okay. Coughlin, I'll give him top 10.
I might still take Tomlin over him. Maybe I guess I don't know. He was a really good. He was a good NFL coach. He was a good NFL coach. I mean, again, it's a lot of guys in there, and the Sean Paytons and all that stuff. You want to consider? I don't know.
Take the Patriots to the Super Bowl before it was cool.
I think again that had they won that Super Bowl against Patriots in 2014, this whole conversation changes. Obviously, you look at this guy as a not Mount Rushmore type, but maybe the next tier under that.
I mean, he's not first ballot, but if he got Hall of Fame consideration, I wouldn't be surprised. I'll give him that much credit.
But as a college coach as a whole, though, I mean, you win on both levels. That's.
I mean, I think his legacy as a college football coach is much greater than his legacy.
Without question,
a lot more tarnished than what we brought up about Belichick.
Correct. Thank you. Somebody finally said it. That the whole reason he's in the NFL is he was doing his best Sir Robin from Monty Python, not to the Holy Grail. Run away!
Avoiding the extradition.
That's fair as well. That's a complicated legacy on both sides. Kyle, your thoughts on Pete Carroll and his time in Seattle?
Listen, I have expressed my distaste. What I will throw out is concern for him. This to me, and I said as much on the Student of the Game report on the Earnestly Speaking podcast. Bing! That I believe this is health related. And listen, this guy's, I think he's in his 70s at this point, right?
72.
Yeah.
Thank you, EJ. So I mean, listen, I think this is an element where he would keep coaching until and not to I know that there's negativity brought up with this name, but I think something that happened with Joe Paterno was he had to stop coaching. Months later he died. Okay, I think the same sort of thing's on the table for Pete Carroll, because that's how much he loves it. I haven't spoken to him personally, but I've spoken to some of his disciples, Bobby Wagner, Richard Sherman, throughout my career being a press person. And what they talk about him and what he brings to a sideline is unique. I think Richard Sherman said it the most interesting by saying it's a support group for guys with chips on their shoulder. Okay. Like a dude that does that is an impressive coach. I hope he is overall healthy and all that, but yeah. Right. And thank you, Bern. I forgot we did bring that up on the Student of the Game pod. Bing. Yeah. That came in such a whirlwind. I forgot it broke during our recording. Yeah, my bad. Thank you. Bro.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, my hope there is that it's not health related. That it's Seattle is, looking to transition to something younger, or different, or whatever. Because, like I said, some of the reports I've seen suggest that he still wants to coach somewhere. There's been no reports or suggestion that he's interviewing anywhere. So. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I know it was a very emotional press conference for him. So, yeah, I'm not sure there. Matt, your thoughts. I know for us as Notre Dame fans, the Pete Carroll legacy is complicated to say.
Already
part of the Notre Dame family. Is that it?
Well, it is a family. For sure.
Family.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of that aspect of it, that's why I've never really been a big fan of Pete Carroll, but you can't deny what he did for the franchise in Seattle. I think that he had kind of earned the right to coach as long as he wanted. So it does, as everyone mentioned, give the feel that this is kind of more someone else's decision than his. which is unfortunate to see. I wouldn't go around saying top 5 generationally, but I would say top 10 is fair. He did win the Super Bowl title, should have been 2. And he has he initially revolutionized the way defenses were approaching, and, kind of similar tactics in college. Do what you can get away with until you can't get away with it anymore. And I think that kind of was a big play on why his team had initial success, and then we saw falter off.
But enough about Bill Belichick.
I mean, outside of like obviously Belichick, Andy Reid, who else would you say is ahead of him in the last 20 years? I mean, Tom Coughlin has more Super Bowls he does, but
it depends on your criteria. Personally,
he said generational, so I'm looking at 20 years. So the last 20 years,
it depends on your criteria. I would put Tomlin ahead of him, for example.
Okay. What about Tom Coughlin? He has 2 Super Bowls in the last 20 years.
I would probably put Coughlin ahead of Carroll. Yeah.
Okay, that's 4.
Kyle Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan?
I know he doesn't have a Super Bowl, but what he's done to turn teams around is
right.
Too.
No, right. 2 point. Yeah.
I mean, he had
Jim Harbaugh's John Harbaugh's a good call out too by Mike.
John for sure. Jim,
I love that one.
Jim,
it was a very small window, but that turnaround with the Niners was fantastic.
And with Jim, he's also done it on both levels, like Pete Carroll has.
Right. So that's another one for sure.
Both Harbaughs then.
Yeah. I think top 10 is fair. He made people give a shit about the Seattle Seahawks, which I don't think anybody ever thought was a thing that would happen. It's like I said, I hope that that health wise and everything he is okay, and that this is just a
Jason Garrett, another one.
You motherfucker!
Hey, fuck you, buddy.
God,
that response, Jim.
I hate all of you. Just
both levels too. He coached Jim's favorite team. He commentates for Jim's favorite team.
The worst people I know. Just the worst people that I know.
Actually, now that I'm done with sarcasm, not only is he a bad coach, like Jim implies, he even sucks at calling the game.
My God, yes. First time ever listen to him this weekend. Actually, first listen to him. I was like,
it's the awkward chuckle that he does after like someone says something. It's like nails on a chalkboard.
It's so bad, and the fact that I have to deal with the younger version of Chris Collinsworth combined with the fucking guy that
I miss Doug Flutie.
Right? Like, how bad are you that makes us miss him as a commentator?
I miss Drew Brees.
I'll pull you a bowl of Flutie Flakes, Jim.
All right, let's move on here, gentlemen. To the divisional round. Only 8 teams remain in the National Football League. We're getting so close to the end of the year, but let's not talk about the end. Let's talk about this weekend. Starting on Saturday, the number 4 seed Houston Texans travel to the number 1 seed Baltimore Ravens, who are 9.5-point home favorite. 44.5 is your over under this one. 4:30 Eastern time on ESPN and ABC. EJ, we'll start with you.
All right, let me get the Ravens to cover, and I will take a slight over.
Slight.
Yes, slight.
Slight. Kyle.
I agree with everything that EJ said. This is a cool story with CJ Stroud and the Texans, but then Ravens will now say nevermore.
I like that.
I like that.
Matt.
As much as I want to have the Texans with the 7.5 points, I think that Baltimore has kind of proven that they can dismantle teams with ease. They're well rested. They're ready to go. They know what's on the line this time around. But EJ did curse them earlier, so give me the Texans plus the points.
Yeah. You are a terrible human being. You know that?
I didn't curse them.
Yeah, it's true.
What is? I gotta look to see what the forecast is, because I think weather may be a factor.
Cold.
In this game, no, I think there's actually a chance of more snow this weekend.
That helps Baltimore more.
No, just cold. 28 degrees. but sunny and windy. So that could play into it as well. Baltimore's been basically resting for 2 weeks. So I'll be curious to see how the early portion of this game could go. If the Texans can jump out, I think they can cover 9.5. That is a pretty big number. But if wind is a factor and they're not able to spread the ball the way they did this past weekend, I think Baltimore wins and just wins easily. Officially, I'll take the Texans to cover 9.5. That does feel like a lot of points.
Yeah, record. I have the Ravens winning by 10 here. I feel like this is the table set for a bad beat. So overall, you're safer going with EJ slight over. Don't touch this damn line. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair assessment. But I will go with the over as well. Then let's see. Mikey B has Houston plus the points in the over. Devin has Ravens indefinitely over. Then we go to
smart play.
Yeah, I think if you're going to touch this game at all, over is the play. All right, then we go Saturday night, 8:15 Eastern time on Fox. It is the number 7 seed Green Bay Packers. They travel to Santa Clara to take on the number 1 seed San Francisco 49ers. Also a 9.5 point home favorite. 50.5 is your over under on this one. EJ, I'll go to you.
That damn half point, I swear. Oh, fuck it. Give me the Niners a cover. Give me, what's the over under again?
50.5.
Oh, it's a lot of points. Fuck, I go over too.
The Packers called off they could have scored 70. I mean, I get the Niners are a much better team, but this is an offense that scores, and so do the Niners.
Dallas has a good defense too.
Allegedly.
Statistically.
Allegedly.
Give me over.
I can't even dodge this shit. That's the worst part.
Niners and over.
All right. Matt, I'll go to you.
Yeah, I'll take the Niners and the over as well. I think if it was in Lambeau, I might have Green Bay staying closer to San Fran, but that's not the case.
Kyle, I'll let you pick last since it is your team. But can you answer me? Is there any injury report issues with the Niners? Or are they healthy?
No, the MVP of the 49ers, Trent Williams, to my knowledge, is currently healthy.
I was going to say McCaffrey was practicing now, right?
Okay.
He's fine.
In that case, yeah, as gross as it is, give me the Niners to cover the 9.5. And I will take because there's been times this year this Packers team has looked bad. Okay. I'll take a slight under on this one. Slight. Kyle, go ahead.
You know, as adorable as it is to hear about the Cowboys defense being good, I've never heard somebody overtly say, you could run the ball on the 49ers. That's a big reason for their domination of the Cowboys. You can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
That being said, I don't think the 49ers really often have that problem, meaning you're going to ask Jordan to do a whole lot more, and I don't love it. That being said, I don't think this is a high-scoring affair. I think the Niners bleed the field with yellow and run the ball a lot with Christian McCaffrey back and all that happy stuff. Give me I'm going to say the under and keep me with the Packers. Give me those points.
All right. Let's see. Mike has what's love got to do with it? 49ers and the over. Devin has Niners and the under. Joe says Niners win, but they don't cover. So he'll take Green Bay covering that 9.5 and the over as well. All right. Then we go to Sunday, 3 Eastern time on NBC. Don't worry, Kyle. It's not on, well, it is on Peacock, just not exclusively.
I'm well aware how much you love the cock, Disney fan, or excuse me, wrestling fan.
Hey man, I was right. A lot of people watch that game on Peacock. That's all I'm saying.
Make them smart, Jim.
Apparently, it does.
How?
It made a shitload of money for the NFL, and it didn't hurt people watching the game.
Well, listen.
Capitalism works. I mean, it's ugly, it's dirty, but so it's a $1 billion business.
Please mark 128. Woke Jim says the phrase capitalism works. Okay.
I mean, like, I'm just pointing out the fact that I was like, look, people aren't going to not watch this game because it's on Peacock, and I was right.
I know that. That doesn't mean I have to fucking like it, Jim. Jesus.
Well, I'm not telling you have to like it.
Anyways.
Anyway, the number 4 seed Buccaneers travel to number 3 seed Detroit, who is a 6.5 point home favorite. 48.5 is your over-under on this one, EJ.
You know, I'll take the Bucks on the points here. Detroit wins the game, but I think Bucks might be a little competitive here in this spot. And I will take a slight under on this one. Slight under.
Kyle.
You shattering my world, talking about how great capitalism is as woke Jim got me to miss what the spread was. Can you tell me?
Detroit minus 6.5.
No. Yeah, that's fine.
48.5.
Yeah, it's going to be the over. Detroit's going to win by more than a touchdown. Listen, the Baker Mayfield experiment has been fun. They're both going to score a lot of points, but I think the Lions are going to win by more than a touchdown. Yeah, I got the Lions. I got Jim's frisky Lions.
My Lions, baby. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, give me the frisky Lions minus the points. I will also take the under, though. I don't think Tampa Bay scores as much as they did against the sieve that is the Eagles defense. The Lions is a little bit more stout.
I mean, and I'm not trying to pour salt on the wound, but like,
yes, you are.
Maybe I was, but like, there's a couple of passes that have like, if they didn't just bounce off of Mike Evans' fingertips, like that game's even worse. Like, I don't think they have the same luck on the road at Detroit. I like Detroit winning by a lot. I think if there was any sort of nerves or lingering effects of late season whatevers, I think they got those out of the way against a better team in the Rams. So I think the Lions really control here. I think they're focused on the task at hand, and also like in the rare event, because like we've already made the picks, like in the rare event that Green Bay pulls off the upset on Saturday, like, dear God, this one could be a blow. You want to give the Lions a chance to host the NFC title game? Good Lord.
Against the Packers, too.
Oh, my God. I didn't
God.
even think about that. Holy shit.
I would say that would be epic work by the NFL script.
If you want to talk about most surprising, if that happens, EJ Christian, that shit better be your good next week, because then it would actually be fucking accurate. Okay?
Yeah, no. Give me the Lions plus. I do. I think they're going to win but by quite a bit.
You mean Kyle next week on the couch? Also next week on the couch?
I mean, listen, you want to talk about weight in the fucking van? Jesus.
Give me a slight under. 48 does feel a lot for a Buccaneers team that like can also just vomit on themselves offensively. So
true.
Look, Baker's earned his contract for next year. Good for him. It's been a fun story. But this is where it ends for them, I think. Mike says, let's fucking go, man. Campbell, let's go Lions.
Man.
And the over. He says ready to run through a wall for that guy. Yeah. Does he have like a twin brother or something that like the Cowboys can hire? Or,
he's
like
still
anybody
one Jim when he predicted Man Campbell to beat Ernest's Chiefs.
That is true. That is true. Mikey B did that all the way back in week 1, and somehow those Chiefs are still playing, even though I don't know that it was declared a must-win. But they are playing the team. They are playing a team who lost a must-win that early in the year. It is the number 3 seed Kansas City Chiefs on the road. How about it? At number 2 Buffalo, a 2.5 point home favorite. 45.5 is your over/under on this one. 6:30 Eastern time on CBS. Devin had the Lions in the over as well. Sorry to miss that one, buddy. But EJ,
I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this game, mainly because it's the first time we get to see Pat Mahomes on the road in the playoffs. Yeah. This is gonna be so much fun. Hubba, hubba, hubba. Money, money, money. Who do you trust, dude?
Who do you trust?
Guess what? I trust the tried and true Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs straight up to win this game.
Okay. Breaking news! Breaking news! This just in. EJ loves the Chiefs.
Oh my God! I think I have real news for a second. Oh my God!
Shit.
No, Give me the Chiefs to win this game outright. Give me the over.
Kyle.
Do not bet this fucking game. Don't do
You're
it.
nothing but a degenerate.
God, you're worse than that if you do. God, just stay away at all costs. That being said, boy, I'm gonna do it, aren't I?
You're doing it. You're doing it.
I got the fucking Bills. I'm sorry. You can hear the trepidation in my voice as I lose it, but I got the Bills in the over. Fuck.
Wait.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Yeah, I guess, man. Shit. I got nothing, man. Here's the thing. The Chiefs are a defensive team now. I don't know if you've gotten the memo. We've been saying that on the student of the game for months. Nick Wright eventually caught up to us. Hashtag I said it. Yeah, right. I see what you did there, Matt. That was wonderful. But God, I'm this close to flip-flopping on it too, man. Like yeah.
Clear weather for the record, forecasted Sunday. Cold but clear in Buffalo.
Very important to mention, Jim. Thank you for that point.
No fence sitting, buddy.
Yeah, no, I got the Bills.
Pick the Bills. He done did it. Matt, go ahead.
Well, rip my shirt off and throw me through a table. Give me the Bills minus the points. Give me the over on this one. I'm going to mirror Kyle's pick.
Man, this one is a difficult game for me to predict because I've been very critical of the Bills for years on this show and their ability to finish games and that stuff, and they've proven me right against this very team. But I've also been one of the louder people shouting about this Chiefs team is not the same, as we've seen. So,
does different mean worse, Jim? That's the question.
I think it does, and I've been on that train for a while. That this Chiefs team is not as good as Chiefs teams in recent years. That's why I cannot believe that I am actually doing this. Fucking light me on fire and throw me through a snowy pile. Give me the Buffalo Bills.
Wow,
to win this game. Cover 2.5, and I will take I'll take it slide over.
Here we go.
I don't like that number
That's
at
the
all.
bet. That's the bet to make in this game.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't like. I'm not making a bet on this game at all.
Can I get a quick breaking news sound if you don't mind?
Is there actually breaking news?
Yes. I got something.
Go ahead, EJ.
All right, so breaking news here. The Atlanta Falcons have actually interviewed Jim Harbaugh.
Okay. All right. That's fair. I know he had an interview with the Chargers yesterday.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's two big swings in 2 days for the Falcons.
Offensive line ain't fucking around, buddy.
Well, I mean, they're going to have to do a lot more than a great head coach to not fuck around. No, it is a very winnable division.
I'll give him this, though. He's a good owner, though. I'll give him this. He's a good owner. I like him.
Yeah, I mean,
they just God, they've done so bad with picks lately.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think whoever, since Harbaugh was interviewed, the terms of the Michigan offer that's reportedly on the table for him is 6 years, 11.5 million per year guaranteed, which would make him the highest paid coach in college football. There's also language that would grant him immunity from termination for anything from these investigations. So whatever NFL team takes that swing, I mean, there's some big numbers there. So it's going to be that's going to be one of the more fun ones to watch for sure. Yeah, obviously, Mike, they have Desmond Ridder now, but there's this thing called free agency that and trading and the draft, and there's a lot of things that can change from one off season to the other. But yeah, I mean, there will have to be roster changes that go along with a coaching change.
Jim Harbaugh is the guy that got production out of Colin Kaepernick. Let's remember that.
That's fair.
And Alex Smith too, when he was on Soundering.
Accurate.
So yeah, like and Yeah, so that is a good point. Let's see. Mike has Bills in the under. Devin has the Chiefs and the over.
Good job, Devin.
So that is where we leave the divisional round, and well, that only leaves one thing to do, right?
Uh-oh. So white.
But he is certainly not the whitest on this panel. Each week we look at. Oh Jesus!
What's wrong?
You're jerking off two ghosts. As we do each week, we
I'm
look
doing drum
at.
dance.
I know what you were doing, but it looks just as bad when you do it.
Guys, and then him jerking off ghosts. That's not great timing, Jim.
We look at EJ's power rankings. We don't do bottom 5s and 10s and 20s in the postseason. We just look at the teams that are still alive. So EJ, for the podcast audience, what is your top 8 this week?
All right, top 8. Here we go. Kyle, be quiet for a second. Number 8, the Buccaneers. 7, Packers. 6, Texans. 5, Lions. 3, the Bills. No, I'm joking. 4, the Bills. 3, the Chiefs. 2, the Niners. 1, the Ravens. I actually wanted to go 4 and 4, 8, 4 be the Lions and the Bills, but whatever. I had a hard time with the 4 and 5, honestly.
So let me get this right. Oh, well, actually, it's because the Chiefs are your 3, but you picked the Lions to advance, but the Bills don't. Even though the Bills ranked high, but it's because it's the Chiefs. I like that you've understood that it's okay to have more AFC teams at the top, but they're anyways.
Yeah, eliminated. I mean, like I said, I told Jim earlier when I sent him the list, I wanted to put Detroit at 4 at one point because again, Buffalo. It's one of those things where, like,
dude,
you saw yesterday, first half. Oh my God, probably best team in football. Second half of the game, holy shit, they might go the
best team in football.
No,
but
I'm just saying that the way they play, you think sometimes you get the vision of, like, maybe they're the best team in football, but
I'll put it this way: if the Bills had that kind of difficulty against, say, the Packers, I'd be more. No, that's not a shot, Jim. I didn't mean that. Shit.
He's over it.
Just hit the goddamn button. There it is. Anyway,
always bet the over if we're talking about that button.
Right? Yeah. But listen, if it was a team like the Packers, I would be more worried. The Steelers are built to be tough as nails. It's kind of a thing they do. And as the Steelers came back, guess what? They still won the game by 2 touchdowns. What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have the same top 2. I have the Bills at 4. I have the same 6, 7, 8 as you do. I have the Lions and the Chiefs switched. I think
Homer.
I mean, let's
Homer.
But first off, my fucking Lions, baby, let's go. But I think they beat a better team. I understand it was a closer game, but I think they beat a better team, and I think they are the better team. And I don't like to look at, especially in the regular season, I don't like to look at like where teams they're playing next or whatever. But when you're looking at the playoffs in this capsule, the Lions having a matchup against the Bucks is a very favorable position, probably more favorable than either the Chiefs or the Bills. Which I can't avoid thinking about that when making my rankings.
Right. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment too, given that we all think the Lions are going to win against the Buccaneers. That probably puts them ahead of the Chiefs and Bills because those two will have to play each other. Now, next week, whoever was behind them will certainly leapfrog them. But I think that for now, based on the way you rank, with the optics, Lions would be at 3 for me.
Makes sense. Optics. You get me, Matt. With all these years, you get me.
But yeah, I mean, so
Kyle was white. Kyle, what's wrong, man?
I now that you ask, you're all talking about the optics. I can like optics. You could see these nuts. Okay.
CD Lamb nuts.
What would be?
What was that about CD Lamb there?
He said CD nuts. Like, so.
Well, fuck you, Kyle.
What are you?
Guilty.
Kyle just got astray.
Now you're rigging me over, Jim. I'm going to report you to the gaming commission.
Fuck you, buddy.
You.
So we Texans at 6, Packers 7, Bucks 8. We can debate where the Lions should be, with the Ravens, Niners obviously is the 1 seed. I don't know if the question is what would be the biggest upset or the most shocking, but if one of those teams were to win, Texans, Packers, or Bucks, which one is the most surprising to you, Matt?
The most surprising of Texans, Packers, Bucks, I would say probably the Packers.
Kyle, same.
No, spot on. Like, because I mean, at least the Lions, they only won their game by 1 point. Okay, if the Texans beat the Ravens, the Ravens had the bye week and CJ Stroud is God. MVP candidate. Just EJ tried to tell you bitches, but you wouldn't listen. Whatever. Nobody loved Jordan at quarterback going into this season. And if they turn around and break the streak of losing that the Packers have against the 49ers in the playoffs, something the Cowboys still haven't done.
Okay, you know what? The one I hit earlier, that one's for you, asshole.
What can I say except you're welcome?
Wait, there it is.
What can I say except you're welcome?
I think it's clearly the Packers. Yeah.
EJ, same?
Oh, yeah, same Packers, of course. Everything Kyle Matt says that on.
Yeah, the Texans, if they get a win, I mean it's a hot team beating a 1 seed that's been on a bye. We've seen it happen before. It's why I joke that, like, I remember the first time that, like, Peyton and the Colts didn't get the bye, I was like, that was on purpose. Like, they just got tired of losing that first divisional game. Ryan says he's just tuning in now. What was EJ's worst take tonight? Because he probably
it would be the surprising nature of this week's Wildcard Sunday, yes, or Wildcard weekend, yes. Surprising being the keyword, of course.
Oh, crinkle fries.
No. You're correct. Your take is correct on crinkle fries. That's Ryan's worst take of all time. And it's really a lot of things you've ever said.
How dare you, Ryan?
Mike says the Packers would be the most surprising. Texans might go crazy. Who knows? As a Bengals homer, I'm sure.
Homer.
Ryan said he's out with the. You guys can fight that one another day. But yeah, I mean, and the Bucks. I mean, certainly. They've shown that they can put points up. I don't expect them to win by any stretch, but it's certainly the Packers would be the most surprising in the bunch there. All right, guys, let's close out the show as we do with some locks.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
We talk about for any new members to the audience. We talk about things that will happen this weekend. Yeah, Mike says just hoping for CJ to do the Lord's work, and Ryan adds, MVP talent right there, CJ Stroud. So,
damn right.
Matt, what is going to happen this weekend?
Nick Sirianni will go through his exit interview and remain as head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Lock it up.
Kyle, what is going to happen?
Keeping on the coaching carousel, perhaps this weekend and beyond, neither Jim Harbaugh nor Bill Belichick will be the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons.
All right.
Lock it up.
EJ?
I know Jim and Kyle struggle with this pick here. I'm 10 toes down on the Chiefs winning this weekend against the Bills.
Damn.
10 toes down.
Lock it up.
Give this man credit. Lube free, no fencing.
That is true.
Look, hubba, money, Patrick fucking Mahomes.
Who do you trust? Hubba, money. Who do you trust?
I hear it, buddy. I hear it.
I'll give you credit for as much fence sitting as you did. I'm I'm impressed that you were able to hop off of it at your age. So,
you say that as though Kyle ain't the oldest one in this whole fucking group, though.
Still take you to the hole.
I'm sure I'm going to catch hell for this in my own house, but by this time next week, Jim Harbaugh will be the new head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Lock it up.
Hey,
that's a good fit.
More likely than Belichick. Everyone keeps throwing Belichick at you guys there, Jim. I don't buy that. I don't think that's happening.
I don't think it's happening either, because like if you're gonna make a move, I think you need to make a move where there's more potential to grow into it, and I don't think there's any growing with somebody at Bill Belichick's age. I think a Harbaugh or a Vrabel would be more likely in Dallas.
I'll say this, and I hate the term, but I'm going to steal it from EJ here because I think it's the best way to express it. If the Steelers are actually dumb enough to fire Mike Tomlin and not learn from the mistake of the Cincinnati Bengals firing Marvin Lewis, I believe I'm going to go 10 toes down that should Tomlin be fired, he is the next coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
I would take it. I would absolutely take it. I mean, like, let's be fair. I think the thing that the Cowboys need is somebody that can bring like a little bit more structure and discipline. Like the impression I get is, and not that it's necessarily wrong or bad, because I do think that he does seem to be a pretty decent guy, that being Mike McCarthy, but like there doesn't seem to be a ton of like structure, and they are definitely not the more disciplined team. Who is older, EJ or Bill Belichick? The jury's still out.
Me.
Let's see. Mike says Josh Allen defeats Patrick Mahomes and will host the AFC title game.
We're directly conflicting with you there, EJ.
I love that. I love that.
No,
Yeah, we'll see. I'm sure next week we will come back and we'll have plenty to talk about from coaching perspectives. Obviously, we will talk about the divisional weekend. We will look at conference championship weekend. Man, the season is winding down. I love this time of year because playoff football is mostly great, but I also hate it because we're getting closer to the end. But Matt, plug away.
Yep, you can find me on Tuesdays and Thursdays on the 3CT podcast. You can see me once or twice a year on Earnestly Speaking, once or twice a year on Student of the Game, every Monday on the Maximize Monday podcast. And I guess now I'm doing the Wrestling Retrospective with
tomorrow.
Ernest
Yes,
Christian
tomorrow
as
night.
well. So check that out.
Got him.
Got him.
What did I say? 2005 Royal Rumble?
05,
All right.
yeah.
Check that one out if you want to see Vince McMahon blow both of his quads.
Is that the one that happened? That's the one? All right.
Awesome. EJ, plug away.
Earnest Podcast, all podcast catchers, YouTube page at youtube.com/Ernest Christian. Other than that, guys, great shows always. Winding down the year, man.
Yeah, it is. Devin has his lock that the Lions will host the NFC title.
Ooh, Kyle. Damn.
That's adorable. See, that's just pure bitterness talking.
That's fair. I like bitterness and pettiness. I thrive on it.
You sure do.
Kyle, plug away.
Well, to keep it purely petty, I can see that Devin and the entire panel has teams that chose to lose rather than think about the prospect of facing the 49ers in the playoffs. Anyway, if Kyle Nass is student of the game, you can find me on Twitter at BSOTG. Find me on Instagram and Threads as the same BSOTG. Find me on the Facebooks as they are as the student of the game. Check out my writings with Jaguar Report, the 3-point conversion, and the black and gold banneret covering UCF basketball, by the way, currently. And also, speaking of basketball, just like I was last week with the Magic and the Minnesota Timberwolves for A7BN Sports, I, of course, will be continuing to cover the Magic upcoming. I soon will be able to see in person one Victor Wembanyama, and I can be amazed by that action, so that should be interesting. An honor, joy, and privilege. Thanks to all in the chat and beyond. But until next time, everyone, class dismissed.
Yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out. We will be back here live next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, 8:30 Eastern time next Tuesday. But we appreciate your support as always. If you are watching us on our YouTube channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you're listening on a podcast platform, make sure you subscribe there as well. Rate and review. Tell your friends about it. Share the show. We would certainly appreciate that. Remember, we have a YouTube goal of 150 subscribers by the Super Bowl. We're on our way. Help us out over there. We would certainly appreciate that. You can follow me at Big Jim Sports. We'll get the show on all of our social media at Huddle Up Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. Again, back on Instagram at Huddle Up Podcast Inc. You can get our merchandise over at tpublic.com. But appreciate the support as always. Thank you, everyone, for interacting with us again tonight. And until next week, stay safe, stay smart, and as always, go for the win.